Welcome back to DS Trucks. In today's video, we're going to be doing the first oil change on our 7.3 liter Godzilla V8. And with all the controversy surrounding this engine, with the lifters failing, I am curious, at just 5,000, 6,000 miles on the truck, is this engine going to be having issues? So what we're going to do is we are going to be checking our oil. We're going to analyze the oil, and maybe there is going to be something there, maybe not. Maybe there's going to be some evidence of metal from our camshaft, maybe not. But for our first oil change, I was asking in yesterday's video, what oil do you think will go into the engine? And here it is. For our first oil change, we're using Motorcraft synthetic blend. Just the baseline oil, the factory oil. There will be no questions of the maintenance. There will be no controversies of the maintenance because we're using Ford's product. We're using their oil. They can't come back and say, hey, you did this, you did that. We used the exact specification. It's interesting. When I was in the dealership, I was like, well, how much is the full synthetic and how much is the blend? And the guy behind the counter was like, well, it's telling me to use blend, and I would recommend you use blend, and blah, blah, blah. You know how they are at the dealer. So we're going to go with the blend. It was cheaper. This stuff was $6 or so a quart. This is what I got from the dealership. This is how it came to me. Oil filter right here, just like that, without any type of protective wrap or anything covering up the hole. It's just right there for you. So that's interesting. And our price on this was $66.05 for everything, 8 quarts of oil and our filter. And honestly, it probably would have been cheaper if I just had the quick lube do it, and probably would have been the same type of oil. It would have been synthetic blend from a drum, but we wanted to do an oil analysis and do all this stuff, so that we're going to pay a little more and do it ourselves. And honestly, it can be a time saver because a lot of times you go to the quick lube and you end up spending all day there. So we're going to go ahead and change this oil. Let's jump under the truck and get it going. So I got my oil analysis container ready for me right here. And I'm going to sneak up under here. This is, like I said, straightforward oil change. And I guess you could see how an oil sample is being done if you never did it. Hopefully this ain't too tight to get loose. Nope, not bad at all. So that's how we'll tighten it back around that same torque and get a feel for how much it took to take off of there. Phil, this is falling over. I don't want there to be a chance that I accidentally got something up in here other than oil. That's the catch with your sample. So I got the container right there. And this is scientific, so you don't want to contaminate your sample. Okay. So the trick is to get your drain plug out without getting a mess. Now, as I'm getting ready to pop this out, let's be ready with our sample container lid off. Ready to go. We got 8 quarts. Will I get doused? Hopefully not. So I gotta be ready to move this too if I have to. Here we go. Moment of truth. Didn't miss at all. Perfect shot. So the trick is to let that stream flow a little. Take your container after it's flowed a little bit. Collect your sample. The engine has had a chance to run and get it to operating temperature, so everything's been stirred up and mixed up. And I didn't catch it right at the beginning or right at the end of the flow. Secure my cap nice and tight. There's my sample. So Ford Boss, me. This, I'll get tested and I'll send you the results. This is factory oil. 1 oil life cycle. About 5,800 miles, just under 6K. I know Ford Boss would like to see the oil getting changed sooner than 5,800 miles. He'd like it at 5,000 regardless, but I did what I could. Anyway, let me grab that oil filter. I'll probably pop in on the other side. Now I can scoop this back so as the stream slows, I can move it, switch it. So it looks like I only need one pan. I can catch the oil filter drippings from just the one pan. As it slows its stream, I could scoot it over, catch that just fine. Can I get this by hand though? So holes in the way there. So with my oil filters, I like to go to the coin car wash before I remove these and spray down the engine area around here, because the type of work that I do, it's real tight. I got to get a wrench. Hold on one second. So the type of work that I do, this area of the truck is absolutely filthy, and it's just full of grit, dirt, abrasive type of material. So I come in here and spray down this area so that it's just clean. So again, I'm feeling kind of how tight this is, because that's factory. It's tight to the point where you can't get it off by hand necessarily, unless you have more strength than me. It's like you can almost probably could have got that off by hand, but it's hand tightened, and then it's just a smidge tighter than hand tightened. So there's our mess. See, like that type of a mess, you wouldn't want to pull your sample from that, because you have other things in your sample than just, you probably come up with some kind of weird contaminants. That's why you want to catch the sample midstream. So letting everything drip and leak and be cool. Slowly taking the filter down. Oh, don't want to drop it. Let her drop. So since I got two pans here, I guess I could drain this filter a little and just set this filter in my second pan instead of dropping it in all that oil. All right, so that's good, and let that drain just for a second. Close everything up down here, and then I can get going with the next step. Let's get out of here. Oh. All right, let's get our oil filter going. So here's our oil filter from the dealer. No protective coverings of any kind. So let's, the main thing with this is to just put some oil around the O-ring. That's the main thing. Now, as far as should you pre-fill your oil filter, honestly, you don't have to. Especially now with the truck had just being run. You really don't even, do you really need to put the oil on the O-ring? There's oil there, it's dripping. I'm not cleaning the housing. I'm not cleaning the old oil off of the oil filter housing. Why would I go through the trouble of doing that? So we're not doing that. We're not cleaning up the housing, because I don't want to introduce any type of chemicals or anything. It will be dumb to brake clean my oil filter housing while the oil filter is off of the truck, because now you're introducing like brake clean directly into your motor. So I'm not doing that. Basically, not pre-filling the filter, not because that you're going to introduce dirt from the oil. The oil's clean. There's no chance of really getting dirt out of the container. If the container's clean, there's no dirt on the container. But if it's heavy and awkward and I'm trying to put it in here, I'm liable to slip, drop it. If it falls down onto the ground, now I'm potentially introducing, it's slippery. My goal, tighten this thing up nicely and have it go onto the truck, not cross thread it, not drop it, not do anything. I did do a visual here to make sure there's no old O-rings and stuff on the filter. That's something you don't want to overlook, obviously. So we're going to hand tighten it, but we're going to also strap tighten it too, because it's oily right now. I can't grab it that effectively because my hand is slipping as I turn it, so I can't guarantee that's tight. I'll put the strap on it, and as far as how tight with the strap, just finish it off. Not wrenching it real hard, just enough to where I feel like it's seated. That's it. And we lubricated our O-ring and stuff. That's good to go. We got our drain plug now. We've drained the oil enough. Gonna put our drain plug in. And we're gonna tighten her up. No impacts or nothing crazy like that. We saw what the torque spec was. Another cool thing on this drain plug, it had a built-in O-ring. I forgot to show that, I think. But we're not gonna go crazy torque. We saw what it was when we took it off, and we're going to aluminum housing here, or aluminum pan. There it is. It stopped. How tight should we do it? That's plenty tight. That's tighter than how it was, just a cinch, and that's it. Nothing more. So a little tighter than how it was, but not so tight I'm busting stuff and breaking stuff. So oil filter good, tighten securely with the wrench. Drain plug, just cinched. You know, just how tight did we do? This is how tight we made it. It kind of stopped. We kind of just went cinch, and that was it. I'm gonna scoot this forward. I can reach out front and grab it. This other one, I'll go to the other way. All right, now we just got to top it off. All right, so 5W30 synthetic blend going in. So what is the deal with these engines having problems with the rockers? Do you think this 5W30 is going to be adequate? Or should they just use the 540 maybe for this engine? Because like it's a heavy duty motor. It's already not getting good MPG. How much of a difference does this 540 or 530 make? And what if 540 oil provides better protection compared to the 530 that they run? Now 540 is going to be way thicker, and it's going to probably cost more money per quart. But yeah, it's kind of interesting if a 540 would protect that camshaft a little bit better. But anyway, let's top her off, and we'll see. Guess we'll warp it though. Maybe I'll warp it because it's gonna take a minute. All right, that's it. That's the last quart of oil coming out of here. So now we've got to, let's go ahead and pour our old oil into jugs. I've already started this. We're gonna put the old oil in these jugs because my oil storage is full and I don't have anywhere to put this, so I've got to put it back in the jugs. I'm contaminating the land a little bit by mistake, but I will soak that up with a EPA rated suction device, anything that spills. But what I will say, pouring this oil in here, this stuff is watery compared to what came out. This stuff's definitely broken down and used. So as far as the high-end oils that are better than this blend, I will eventually be doing that. But my thing is, I want to go ahead and let this engine have a chance to just be factory for at least 1 or 2 oil changes. Then I'll go to the really, really good oils. Now, is synthetic oil going to prevent break-in or anything like that? I don't know. You know, we don't know. Some level synthetic oils are so good that they don't recommend you put them into the engine until you've reached a certain mileage. So is there any truth to that? There kind of is. I mean, you don't want a brand new engine necessarily to get the best lubricating oil that maybe this factory, whatever tolerances they run, don't have any account for that kind of lubrication. I don't know. But when you get into the real high-end PAO oils that from Hot Shot Seekers, you read it, what they say on the site, some of those oils, they say don't use them till you've got 15K on the motor. So try not to miss. This is getting a little more difficult as we get a little lower. This oil black. Oh, the wind's blowing it. So looks like the last quart will be left. This last little bit don't want to pour. That's good enough though, because that my jug can hold the rest of this oil. Okay, so that's that. Now we've got to go ahead and start this motor up. All right, so keep in mind that we did not pre-fill this oil filter, so I wonder how it's going to sound starting up. This truck is big. I got to climb to get up in here. Let's reinstall our cap. This O-ring on the cap, it's a good idea to oil that. As the life of the vehicle, it never gets oiled. That becomes an issue. Let's take a look here at our dipstick. I didn't even wipe this off, but it probably will still give us our level, kind of. Doesn't seem to be any problems visually. But you know, if you were seeing glitter on that, glitter, metal, that could be an indication of an issue. And we are talking 7.3 here. But the failures on these 7.3s is not that common anyway. Another O-ring that could use some lubrication is this one on the dipstick periodically. I've seen them when they get up in the miles that never gets oil, they degrade. So let's go ahead and start it up. Clean hand. Curious how she's gonna sound. No abnormal sounds whatsoever without pre-filling the oil filter. No clicking, no priming noises, nothing. Started right up. Got the radio playing in there, got to turn that off, but we'll let it run. We know we tighten our oil filter good. We can check that for leaks. Another thing, you want to clean that up. That's not something you want to leave looking nasty. That oil filter looking good, no leaks. Clean it up. Oh yeah. All right. All right, the engine's off. We're gonna let it settle for a minute. I'm gonna clean up a little bit. I'm gonna use the recommended approved cleaning methods for this oil spill here. But gotta cap these off, and I'm gonna check this oil after it's